Hey everyone, welcome. Um, as we're getting started, get your chat window figured out so that you can chat questions to us. We'll try to answer all your questions as they come along. And maybe if you're up for it, put where you're coming in from. That's always fun. I'm in the San Francisco area. We got some other team members on here, so please add that in. Put on my chat as well. There we go. Houston, Texas. Good town. A little hot, but awesome. Let's see. Cocoa Beach, Florida, Queens, Paisan, Geneva, fantastic. All right, we'll just wait one more minute and then we'll get going. Thanks for joining. We're really excited about what's going on in AI and how we're working on it. I will try to provide sort of our generalized point of view. Obviously, we're just one amongst many who are trying to figure out how the AI revolution is going to work. But I'll provide our point of view on things. Love if you guys, add your thoughts in chat. We'll try to have a bit of a Q&A and discussion. I'll be going through some Praxie solutions, but try to talk about them in generalized. I'll try not to make this too much of a sales pitch, but try to talk about them in generalized terms so that we're all kind of learning together. So let's go ahead and get started. What we really want to talk about is how to use AI and the data you already have to really drive team collaboration and optimization of process. We call it intelligent operations. So let me just kick off the slide deck here, and then I'll show you some demos as well. And we've got a bunch of research that's backed this up. In fact, this is the low end that 40% of mistakes and waste are attributed to all these disconnected processes and data. And every shop I went into when I was doing IoT at SAP looked like this. There would be some core systems and then lots of Excel sheets and disconnected systems, et cetera. And that's where all the data is, and that's where the mistakes live. What Praxie does is we digitize all those processes that are in Excel sheets and other things, and we deliver everything, the complete lean process suite to training to huddle boards, et cetera. And we've been adding AI into all of those. And you'll see this kind of, and I call it kind of productivity AI. And let me jump out and show you here what I mean by productivity AI. If in Praxie, here's a Gemba Walk solution, if you guys are familiar with Gemba Walks. It's nicely digitized. You can come in and you can enter the issues you're finding around whatever type of waste you're trying to find. And what the AI does is it will generate summaries of the information. It'll generate suggestions of things you might do to address what you found in your Gemba Walk, and it will generate a project plan. So at an individual sort of solution level, it's a productivity enhancer. It could be 25, 30% productivity. Plus, it gives your team ideas that they didn't necessarily have in their own skill set on things that they might do. And so, that's a version or a view of what I would call productivity AI. There's another level of AI which we're going to focus on today, which I view as kind of intelligent operations, AI-powered operation software. And this is about gathering data from multiple systems, finding insights, creating suggestions, and then executing on all of those. And if you're going to do this today, it's incredibly expensive, slow to implement, and the current solutions are really pretty out of date. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But the opportunity is huge because this is where the insights live, and all of this disconnected, unstructured and structured data, different databases, different application suites. If you're trying to understand your solution, how difficult it is to put together solutions that give you those insights and let you execute against them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The reason that this problem is so big, we call the app gap, is that the data exists in all these various forms down here at the bottom. And then what you want to do is use those in an operational center where you can see the insights, take action, do automations, et cetera. The problem is that acquiring and doing the ETL processes around structuring that data are incredibly expensive. Estimates are that 60% of any AI project is all about just structuring the data. The second is developing and defining all the AI logic, the training the models, et cetera. And if you go to any of the big AI companies, Anthropic or OpenAI, et cetera, and look at their APIs, they'll describe building it as first, do this. And if you go to model training, it's an incredibly difficult and bespoke process. And then finally, building the applications. You have to build a full application on top of that data to do whatever you want to do. So this is an incredibly expensive and time-consuming process. And this app gap prevents us all from really, at an enterprise level, capturing and being able to work with the value that's in all of this data in our systems. So Praxie solves this with our NoSQL AI platform. And the way we do it is our system is uniquely based on a NoSQL data structure. And what I mean by based on, our actual applications run on NoSQL. So we're not a relational database that you can dump stuff into NoSQL. The actual application structure runs on NoSQL. That means we can ingest data without complex transformations of any type of structured or unstructured data. We turn it into a materialized view, which means we sort of semi-structure it inside our environment so that we can access it. There are lakehouse concepts that are sort of a halfway between a data lake and a data warehouse. We're doing something like that. But basically, we create this materialized view, which allows us on our entire stack to build AI applications on this materialized representation very rapidly with our rapid development environment. And so you skip a huge amount of that time that you were doing data transformation and working on it. Everything is built on one structure, and we build those applications. The kinds of applications that are required in these operational centers, we have this sort of tree-based concept. And basically, you need to acquire the data, as we just talked about. You then need to do detection and classification on this data. And I want to just take a second, I'll show you in a slide further, that gathering this data is not just about data that's sitting in Praxie or data that's sitting in a single application. These landscapes of data are quite important to be able to aggregate that information in. Then across that data, you can do detection and classification of the issues. You can diagnose root causes. You can then generate solutions and estimate ROI around those different types of solutions that you're going to put your work toward. And then you can do automation and execution and action management, and then monitor your progress. All of this can be supported by those types of applications like the Gemba walks I talk about, where you have productivity apps. But this core operational center is the center of the way to do this in the future, so that you're looking across your entire application landscape and you're running these processes in a unified operational center that's intelligent. This is much different than any kind of application environment that you've had. And if you've had it, you've had to build it, and the AI aspects are probably not even there today. So this is, I'm going to show you how we'll take you from this sort of chaotic environment through what we call the inquire process to have an intelligent operations center. And this is what it looks like, and I'll jump into a demo here in 1 second. But I wanted to highlight this slide. I know it's kind of crazy looking, but this is how these environments tend to look. You might have lots of different process applications. You might have lots of different vendors in here. The idea is across that landscape with this AI-powered ops center to be able to do data synchronization, analytics, to find out those root causes and all those things, action management, orchestration, and automation. AI can help you do this today. This has been impossible except with a tremendous amount of work. And the AI models aren't even there generally in the existing solutions for this. So I just wanted to put a picture on the screen to say, this is not just about running stuff in one product or in Praxie. This is about taking the data that exists across your organization, very rapidly pulling it into an intelligent operations center and being able to take action with it. So let me jump in and show you a quick demo here of our environment and how it all works. So that was the Gemba walk. Here's the Intelligent Operations Center. Now, when you go through the AI aspects, I won't actually click the buttons to run the AI. They take, about a minute to do the work on each one of these steps. But I'll show you the output of all of this stuff. And, if you're interested further, we can get on and do longer demos. But the ingest process, or the inquire process, is shown up here at the top. And the first thing to do is ingest the data. So you bring in, we have CSV files, or you can configure connections to SQL databases, or we can use our APIs. We have multiple ways to bring in the data. In this case, we brought in a CSV file. And what it does is the AI, when you click this button, will generate a description of the data. And this can work with lots of different data types, even unstructured data, like images that have text on them. And we're working on all kinds of unstructured data to bring in the system. But you can see here that this provided data set containing sales record. It includes information about sales representatives, et cetera, price, quantity. So it's understood the data. And then you can also, if you want, in each of the steps, you can add in more context. So you can add in information about anything that it didn't quite find, and then you can move on to the next step. Now that the data's in and you've described it well, what is your role? What is your business process you're working on? What are the day-to-day steps? This all allows the AI to understand better what you're trying to do. You can also address additional challenges, et cetera, that you're trying to drive. So this entire structure gives you more and more context. And as we build, this is a framework that we use to build lots of different solutions, but we can add more and more of these context information to the particular solution that you're trying to drive, or the particular area, whether that's sales or quality, et cetera. You then go to the question section. So what happens is the AI, when I click generate questions, it actually generates these 5 questions. You can add more if you like down here, but it'll generate questions. And this is really interesting because based on all the context you've given it, the AI, as part of your inquiring about your data, this inquire process gives you a list of questions that you ought to be asking based on the data it found. What are the different date formats in the columns? What's the conversion rate that's being tracked? Is there a way to capture granular data? So it goes through and generates that based on the data set. And what you can do at this point is you can select any of the questions that you are interested in moving forward. You click the add button and it moves them to the query process here, where you're now going to go down the branch of inquiry for that particular question. So if I click on this question here, I'm now moving down into that branch, and you can see it's got a branch. So think of this as the main tree, and then this is a branch of inquiry around that question. So how can I leverage data analytics to identify potential sales opportunities? And then the AI will generate a best practice for doing that particular thing against that question. Regional analysis. The calculations show average sales are higher in the eastern region, followed by the south. So the AI is based on your data, looking at the question that you ask and generating very relevant information about the answer to the question that you're looking for. You can also, again, add more context here and regenerate the answer. So it will, again, take all of the information that's been gathered and generate a new and updated answer around the question. Once you're satisfied that the answer is generally correct in what you're looking for, you can go to the understand page. What this does is it generates a cause of the issues that are being found. So in this case, it's saying, if you're trying to improve segments, you have, these are the general causes in this case. If this was quality, it would know exactly which quality issues were the most consistent. Or if you're looking at pricing data, it would show which pricing data is out of whack based on standards, or which margins are wrong. But in this case, it's saying ineffective marketing campaigns are most likely the cause of the sales issues, lack of customer insights and inadequate sales training. Based on best practices and all the information that the AI finds in the internet, it generates a Pareto chart that says this is your most likely cause, this ineffective marketing campaign. And you can see a standard Pareto distribution here on the right based on those issues. You can then go and generate an ideate process. What the ideate process does at this point is it basically says, here's the types of things that you can do to address it. You can optimize your campaigns for regional performance, analyze regional sales data, identify which areas have low market penetration, et cetera. And so it's giving you ideas around the areas that you can run a process on to improve the issue you're dealing with. If it were quality, it might talk about training or running 5S processes, or updating your QMS. It talks about the best practices around the particular issue that you're trying to deal with. You can then add a simulation. And what this is for is to determine, based on the different use cases or different ideas, which am I going to get my best ROI on? Now, there's usually a prompt section before this, which will say, how quickly do you want this to ramp? How many, like if you're doing sales training, for instance, it might say, how many reps do you have, et cetera. It will then generate a very quick model on the cost and benefit of doing this particular process. And you can see in this case, the payback is in 3 months. Based on the information that the AI had. So this particular idea has a simulation for this particular thing you're seeing. You can also run different simulations, and you can see the ROIs across them, and it will generate a roll up of all of them, and you can decide which ones you actually want to go execute. At that point, you go to the execute area and it generates project plans. These are showing both branches, but basically you see that it will generate a project plan for you to then start assigning your team members to and getting on with building that execution. The last step is that remember I'm down a branch here of that first question. Is each of these questions will generate a operations center dashboard element for you. And we do this as part of services depending upon what you want here, but very rapidly you have a dashboard that shows you all of the key KPIs you're trying to drive, what questions you're trying to answer and execute against with the AI. And you can generate a list of automations that will trigger based on whatever's going on in that data structures or information that you're getting. Now, in this case, we used a CSV, but generally we'll have dynamic connections to different data sources, could be machine data on manufacturing floors, could be CRMs, could be SAP, and all these different types of triggered information can go on notifying you, creating supplier audits, sending maintenance requests. All of these things can be triggered based on the information that's being pulled into the system that are supporting your execution of what you identified as core issues in your data with AI. So if you have a yield problem with your product's quality, you can do this against quality data. If you have a sales problem, you can do it against sales data. We did one recently with pricing. One of the interesting things that we found in the pricing was that information that the customer didn't know was a problem was there. Some of their suppliers were moving, having their move in and move out dates constantly moving, which was creating supply chain issues that they didn't understand were there. So that's basically the process of the inquire. So what you do again is you ingest the data, and we work with you to create that. And with our dematerialized and NoSQL environment, the time to create completely clear data is much less. And I think there's a question here: how much time is it? Generally, it's a fraction, a minuscule fraction of what you'd have in traditional, because the simple sort of analogy is if you're looking at data from across the country, the data might say New York City, it might say NYC, it might say New York. All of those things mean New York City in the data, but they're all named differently, and you have to go through data cleansing. In our system, we understand context, so you wouldn't have to do any of that. So that's the kind of stuff we can do to get the data in. You then narrow the data focus, what you're trying to do. You then generate a list of questions. Those questions are the branches by which you're going to go down branches of inquiry. You go through and you understand those. You see that these different questions have summaries of the causes. You then generate ideas to address those causes. You then can run simulations on the cost benefit of each of those ideas. You can then generate an execution plan where across all your projects, you can see what's going on, and you can have a dynamically updated and triggered automated operation center around all of those things you're trying to fix. So this kind of class of operational execution doesn't really exist without building it in a bespoke manner. So in a Praxie standpoint, we have the ability to create this unified NoSQL powered no-code environment. We generate the materialized view to normalize the information for AI, and then we can build all that schemaless acquisition so that you can get this value very, very quickly. And when talking about value, there's lots and lots of different areas. But if you think of these in terms of jobs to be done or functions, there's very, very clear value propositions against these different areas. AI-powered strategy operations, where you're developing KPIs, you're doing research of trends and competitive information, and all of that's coming into a system. You're creating summaries. We're working with customers who are generating quarterly summaries without any of the executives having to sit down and write these summaries and send in PowerPoints. It just shows up based on very limited amount of information that the executives have to put in. AI-powered marketing, where you look at customer intelligence, targeting, decision-making, sales operations, people operations, product operations, where you're doing innovation intelligence, trend segmentations, supply chain, production, AI optimized schedules, lean continuous improvement, value maps, et cetera. quality, root cause analysis, and then warehouse as well. So, any of these areas can benefit from that ability to look over the entire app landscape that you have in your environment and generate a complete AI-based operation center. So this is very different than, again, the sort of productivity AI you'll see in any app that'll help you make a PowerPoint or something like that. This is a next level capability that's very, very straightforward for Praxie to do, and would love to talk to you guys about it if you're interested. Now, what we tend to do if you're interested in this is we have a 2-week intelligent operations pilot. We define the goals, what we're trying to get. We provide a CSV or some light set of data that we pull in. We'll do the analytics and show you the ROI on that. So if you do have any questions that you go, gosh, it'd be amazing if I could get this out of my data, give us a shout, and we'll be happy to walk you through the process. So with that, I'll open it up to questions, and if you guys have any, and happy to discuss this further offline. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll take them right now. Okay. Do the questions get saved between iterations? So yeah, these branches, if you create a branch, that branch of inquiry will be saved as a historical branch. Now, you don't have to execute against it and move it to the execution phase. So you can go down multiple branches. I mean, as we showed that tree, imagine you're in sales operations and you want to drive down your marketing, you want to drive down those are all branches of inquiry that we can go, using your CRM data, your sales data, your Excel sheets, everything, and we can find those, and those questions will remain. Is this subscription based? Yes, generally it's a SaaS-based product. Happy to talk to you about pricing. We tend to try to get you ROI in less than 6 months, so happy to do that. It really depends the pricing. So they're asking some idea of pricing. So the pricing really depends on how many data sources we're going after, what are the ROI type of, or what are all the questions you have. It's a difficult thing right now because we're trying to lock that down, but we'll make sure that the ROI is incredibly good for you. And we're happy to do pilots if you do have data, so that you're quite comfortable with the ROI you're going to get on the solution. Anything else? So can I do research and then make changes to the operations downport? I don't have to make changes unless the research is all done. That's true. Yes, you can. The environment is such where if you got the operational dashboard and you came to it and you decided you didn't like a particular branch of inquiry and wanted to get rid of that operational execution section, you can do that. And you don't have to make any of those changes. If you think of each branch as a changeable and cyclical process that you go through, you can make or not make changes as you desire. Is the solution cloud-based? And will the data have to be uploaded? The solution is cloud-based. We have security policies and all that kind of stuff. And you're actually more secure working with Praxie than you would be trying to put it in ChatGPT or something like that. None of the data of your data has to come into our system. We can just index it. And we have agreements with our model providers that they will not use the data we send through our API connections for training. So your data does not go into the training databases. Do we have use cases in change management, organizational structuring, and people transformation area? So we've done a lot of change management applications. Currently, we don't have any data sets that we've used with change management, but if you have one and you have some questions, love to do it. But we have a lot of experience in change management. So, and we actually have our own change management applications that use ADKAR and other base processes. So if you have some information around that, we'd be happy to do a quick pilot with you around that data. Cloud-based, uploaded to platform. Yeah. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, one of the things that's interesting about this structure, this dematerialized and NoSQL structure, is it allows us a huge amount of flexibility on how we get data. So you can import data, like in that CSV, or you can just index it where it is and not have to move it. It's a very flexible environment, going from everything from data that's stored in Praxie all the way to machine data, millions of data points coming at us very rapidly in large databases and clouds. How much data pre-processing do you need? Very little, if any. One of the interesting things is if you drop data into the system will tell you where the data issues are and tell you if it's likely to be a problem, which is really amazing. Instead of you going, well, I have to clean up all these New York City things across thousands of records, you put it in and it will tell you that, it'll tell you if any data is missing or if there's anomalous data in a very strange way. It's very powerful, the AI doing the analysis of the data before you even begin your business analysis. Okay, I think we're coming to the end. Any other questions? Anyway, you see my email on the screen. You can if you could just go to praxie.com, you can set up a meeting with one of our team or send me an email. Be happy to talk with you at any time and look forward to speaking with you in person. Have a great day, everybody. We'll also send out the presentation as well as post this on the video as well. So you can have access to this offline. Thanks again. Have a great day.